I think that like the question about what what are NFTs, right? Like come up, like especially in a market like this, people are like, you know, I saw a really prominent influencer, I can't remember which one it was. He posted up a tweet that was basically like, look, like I'm like everybody, I like to think positive, but this is a bear market, and I think like this might be the end of NFTs. And it was like a legit post. And you know, all I have to say to that is like NFTs are not just PFP projects. They're not just access to these communities. NFTs and the future of NFTs and this technology, right? Like the underlying technology is really what we're talking about here, at least when I'm having this conversation. And that's just getting started, right? Like I come from a different viewpoint than a lot of people because I do spend my days talking mostly to brands versus like, you know, community, right? And the PFPs and the artists like I used to a year ago. And to see how that's being handled, you know, to Gift's points, like everybody else is down, but we're over here building, right? Like, and that's what these massive global like companies are doing. And they're just trying to figure out like, once all this FUD is gone, like what do NFTs look like for them? So, and I don't think that they're $1 million, you know, JPEGs for the rest of our lives. I think we're going to be dealing more with like, you know, $5, $10, $15, you know, JPEGs that might turn into $100, $150, $200 at some point, right? Like more like smaller like ecosystems that are easier for more people to get into, and not so much money to like play around with and, you know, whatever. And I also think that like just inherently, like they're going to be used much more for marketing, right? Like, and much more for bridging the gap between brand and community than they are at this point for like the speculative and the building. And I don't have anything wrong with it. I think that has its place, but I do think that like people just assume that's NFTs, right? That's what we are. That's everything. That's the tech. That's how, you know, look, Adidas dropped that NFT. That's how it's going to be done by everybody. It's not the way it's going to be. So, you know, there's a lot of red on that chart that Q's got there. All I have to say is the one tip I did see that I hadn't really ever like heard before, because I'm new to like trading and investing and all that stuff, was basically like when things like this happen, a lot of you know, people, what you do is you look at your high conviction investments, right? So and then liquidating all the stuff that you're not sure about, and then just putting those over to where you think it'll grow the most. And this is a good opportunity. If you have that liquidity, if you've got the Ethereum, then maybe what you're doing is you're waiting for this to kind of really bottom out. And then you're going to try to take advantage of it before it comes right back up.
Yeah, dude, Ronan is so heckin'. Can we just like give some love for Ronan? Like, dude, you're always so eloquent, man. Like, I have to say, I vibe with everything you just said. I think you're brilliant. So I just want to say that publicly. And I wanted to add to it, there are some bullish like other indicators too, right? So it's like if you look at the number of total Ethereum wallets, it's still like growing exponentially. You can see there's still very large projects that are developing, that are selling out. It's obviously like the vast majority, the long tail is really suffering right now in these bear markets, but you're still seeing like quite a bit of volume overall in the NFT space. So it's like, even if we're in a bear market, like there's still like indicators of foundational value and growth happening in the space at large. And the fact that there is still utility and there is still a lot of development being done, that's what, again, keeps me very optimistic on the future. And yeah, I think just to kind of double down on what Ronan was saying so well, a lot of it comes down to what are the real positions, what are the high conviction things, what are the projects and teams that are actually developing, creating real utility? Because, you know, ask yourself this: did the concept of being in a club, of social utility, of access, of whatever other, you know, of gaming, of GameFi, did any of those utilities just disappear or lose their inherent value overnight? I don't think so. I think these are all things that people do and will care about again, you know, under the right circumstances. It's just, you know, the market is just not great right now.